Happy holiday, guys. I hope you are having a fantastic December. So, I thought to have this topic on creatives and mental health because it is that season. They are getting gigs, and in turn, their mental health can be affected. So, I brought with me a guest who is also a creative to share with us his journey and also how he copes. Stay tuned. Welcome, William.
Thank you so much for hosting me on your channel.
Thank you for agreeing to come here.
Anytime.
So you can introduce yourself and what you do before I start telling them who you are to me.
Right. I'm William Cee, professional photographer based in Naivasha, but I'm not limited to Naivasha only. We shoot everywhere. We shoot events, portraits, but our studio headquarters are located in Naivasha.
Actually, that being said, he has been my photographer for quite some years whenever I am in Naivasha. So even the people watching from Naivasha, you can go and support him. I understand you have been doing this for quite a while.
Yeah.
So how did you start? How has the journey been? Like, how many years have you been doing this?
Right, that is always a tricky question because I can't recall exactly how long it's been, but it's been probably, let me say, this year, actually this month we're celebrating our second anniversary having opened the studio. We are COVID babies, so 2 years.
Yeah, but I remember you actually started shooting before the studio
true.
opened.
So probably, if we count that time, probably it's around 5 years.
Oh wow, I think 5 years is quite a good time. So what inspired you to start this? Maybe before even opening up a studio, how was the journey like?
It was quite a challenge because, to be honest, I never saw myself ending up in this industry. But in one way or another, I found myself.
Is it something you went to school for?
And not exactly, but I've gone for some master classes as I was a beginner, plus a lot of research in the University of YouTube.
University of YouTube.
Yeah.
And what did you study in school?
I'm an accountant by profession.
Wow. Accountant na kamera zinaingia na wapi?
Tuseme tu tunafanya mahesabu kwa biashara, which is good. Finances are top, taken care of.
That's really good to hear. And you know, a lot of us, especially people in the creative industry, you find that people usually don't start that way, but they kind of follow their passion. So what made you go from accounting to now photography? What sparked that interest?
So I was working as an accountant before, and along the way I used to get a few gigs because I was learning photography on the side, and then I was able to, because I was working in an institution where I could get some money, I was able to get my first camera with me, and then over the weekends I would do a few gigs, and having time to analyze how the income is coming through, I was able to transition into photography.
That's when you realized it actually had money.
Exactly. It has a lot of potential, and it's something that I love to do, so why not?
So one of the things that actually affect creatives in terms of their mental health is when now you tell your parents that you want to pursue art as a career, maybe you want to sing, you want to act. How was it in terms of you and your parents when you told them, now I want to drop accounting and do this?
It was a bit difficult having to convince them because they are paying your school fees. You're already in school, you're just done. The first thing they expect for you is to go get a job, although I was doing a few jobs at the moment regarding accounts. But then I decided to do it. And then I'm happy because my parents are so supportive. They supported me through it. And after some time, I started getting some money out of it. I did not ask for money anymore. I was becoming independent. So I guess they kind of saw the green light, and then they were like, I think this is it for you.
So at least for parents who may be doubting, please support your kids, because you never know if it's something that they are passionate about, then they can go for it, and as you can see, it pays. So I want us to go now into, now you started transitioning into it, and you've talked about COVID. And the way we know that period, it affected a lot of artists because most of the gigs were closed, weddings were not there, people were not meeting up. So how were you able to survive?
Funny thing during that time, I know we spent a lot of time indoors.
Yeah.
It gave us some time to be creative. I remember around that time is when we did a lot of TikToks.
Yeah.
And I was able to purchase a few things. For instance, there was a lighting I had in the house. I had started to purchase a few things. So I got to interact with it more. And that is how, to learn. So I used to try and do some mini setups in the house where I could also shoot. And I guess that is how I was inspired to start the studio. Because it actually started the same year. Yeah.
So for you, would you say you were affected financially by COVID?
Yeah, somehow it was, but at the same time, it brought up some new ideas and opportunities that we did not have before. And then I was like, if this ever happens again, will I always be indoors? Because at the moment I was freelancing a lot. So it gave me an opportunity to think, do I need to improve and grow my business in another dimension or something like that? Yeah, so for me it was a blessing in disguise.
Actually for me, I also say about COVID times, like I didn't really feel it because my field was called essential services. So we were still working on the same.
Yeah.
Alright, so I like the way you mentioned about COVID times and the way it made you explore other things and even how to be able to perfect your craft. But there are so many people who talk about creative blocks. You find maybe a writer doesn't know what to write anymore. Maybe an artist, they haven't produced music for quite some time. Is this something that you experience? You know, for us, we just see you're just taking photos. Is there any sort of creative block that you get?
Yeah, actually it does happen, but I kind of feel like it happens with most of the artists, not only photographers. And for me, I normally take that as an opportunity to hold back, relax, and then try and do something that is going to bring you back in the game. Because most of the times you kind of find that you're doing the same thing, and then sometimes you kind of feel exhausted doing the same thing, you're yearning for something new. So I feel like that's an opportunity where you need to relax and try and figure out what you need to do next.
And I know we say, especially people like poets, maybe they're inspired by their life experiences. What inspires you? What makes you come up with certain concepts? Is it things you see online or what?
I think sometimes you might be having a conversation, probably you're hanging out and then you talk about something. I could get some idea from that. Sometimes probably the internet, Pinterest comes in handy way too many times. Pinterest is dope. And also probably doing your research, you're going to see something new that you can also try and do this. And sometimes random ideas just pop up.
Very interesting. So at least for someone who can maybe wants to start, it's not you do the same thing over and over. And actually that's a big part of creativity. Like you just want to create different, and when it's the same, it kind of becomes monotonous and boring. And let us now, you have mentioned you did accounts, so you know the business side of things now. Like we are saying, it's not just about doing the photos, there's also the marketing, there's also getting clients and everything. Do you feel like this affects people in terms of, I can imagine anytime you have a business of your own, you're depending on clients. It's not like you have a salary. How do you manage the times where maybe, do you have high season, low seasons and stuff?
Yeah, definitely we have those high seasons and the low seasons. And having a background in accounts has come in handy way too many times, because you have to balance between the good seasons and the bad seasons. Sometimes when you're making a lot of money, it doesn't mean you have to spend a lot. That is the time you have to do a lot of savings, because on a rainy day you're going to need it. So it's more about learning. It's a lot about learning about discipline, savings, and how to manage your funds, and how to allocate your funds.
Not that maybe during December time you get gigs and now you go for vacations and everything, but then January ikifika kumekauka.
So you have to be prepared for Jan when it comes to, but at the same time, don't limit yourself.
Balance.
So, true. Also enjoy life.
At the end of the day, we are working to be able to enjoy ourselves. Okay, so speaking of holiday seasons, you know, this is the time maybe you are mostly booked. Correct me if I'm wrong, I may not know. And then we see a lot of you work maybe over the weekends or during the holidays. And this can actually affect someone because you don't get breaks. When others are taking breaks, maybe you're busy working. Is this something that you have experienced, and how do you usually manage your time so that you have that work-life balance?
Yeah, sure. When you start out, for those who are starting out, it normally feels unfair because especially everyone else on a Friday evening, they're ready for parties because the weekend is right here with us. But for us, probably that is the time we are having a lot of bookings. People are off work, so they are making a lot of bookings. For us nowadays, we have to come to work even on Sundays because that is when people have family time. They can book their sessions and come through. So our patterns kind of change because when people are free, that is when we are more engaged. So we have to strike a balance in between those days. So you'll find most of the time I'm doing my breaks on a weekday because they are not as busy as the weekends or holidays. So when you're starting out, balancing it's a bit hard, but as you maneuver around it, you get to hack it anyway.
You get to realize the times when there are more plans and when you can take a break.
So when you guys are having fun, you're working.
Speaking of taking rest, also self-care is part of something that we talk a lot about in mental health. You need to eat well, to sleep well, to exercise as well. And the fact being that you are working till late, you're working over the weekends, how are you able to do this as well? Do you take care of yourself or you neglect yourself?
Sure.
You find you've even forgotten to eat.
Yeah, true. In as much as there's a business perspective, there's also you as the photographer, as an individual. And some of us have managed to grow to that level where you are a brand for yourself. So it's very important to take care of yourself, especially when it comes to, just like you said, from meals, health, exercise, peace of mind. So you have, just like I previously said, you need to allocate some time for these things because they're quite important. I won't say that I take lunch every day. Sometimes time in a song and then you're like, oh, please skip lunch or something. But in between, you have to know how to balance your things. Probably have a heavy breakfast so that even if you have a busy day, you're good. Also sometimes because of the fatigue from work and everything, you need some time to unwind. Probably for me, I enjoy hanging out with friends, probably doing some games and activities. Once in a while I'll go travel just to have that peace of mind and relax and unwind, so that when you come back in the game, you're super fresh and you have new ideas. So it's very important for everyone to have their me time.
Sure. That's very, very important. You reminded me of that photographer that once trended, where alinyimwa lunch and then they deleted all the photos.
Exactly, but it's not grudge now actually.
Because you find that even you go to a wedding, maybe you're just focusing on taking shots from morning till the reception, and you get left behind.
Actually, I've had that scenario happen again. There was a time I was shooting for a certain hotel along South Lake, and then one of the guys that was telling me there was a wedding that happened at the hotel, but then the photographers and other service providers lunch hour because you're being paid on a faculty sort. But I don't feel like they had communicated that before. But I'm lucky enough, none of my clients has done that to me, and I hope they'll not do that to me. Because I kind of feel it's unfair. I'm sacrificing my time as much as you're paying me. It's kind of tricky.
And it's also just Africa to not
it doesn't cost you too much. And if I provide your food, let me know in advance. I'll sort myself out. I know. Yeah, exactly.
There is also this interesting thing that people usually say, that ladies only listen to photographers.
That is so true.
They always concentrate because you're told, turn this way, you turn this way. And some people actually tend to be very insecure around them. Is this something that you experience? Because I know a lot of your clients are females. Sometimes you're called even to do home visits. How are you able to maintain that professionalism?
True. That effect that you said is so true. They listen to photographers us more than they listen even to their
men.
parents and to their men. I guess men should be jealous about that, but we represent you on this side. So it kind of happens because, you know, ladies want to get nice photos every single time, you know, the good side. So in case you're telling them the lighting is good on this side, you need to position yourself in this position. So they follow, they have no option, but I don't want to say they don't have an option per se, but we are all trying to achieve getting a good photo, yes. Yeah, there's something else that you also asked.
Do you get experiences where people are insecure, they don't want to see you with their women, or sometimes they feel as if you're a ladies' man because most of your clients are females, and now the other side is how do you maintain professionalism, especially while doing home visits and stuff?
I think when you interact with women so much, you get to learn and be more diverse. So I've been able to understand different people, the way they come through, because I have a wide range of clients. So basically it's more about understanding what this person wants, how they are. So it's easy for you to tell from your first conversation. So, and also something with me, I prefer being so professional about my work. In as much as even if your boyfriend brought you for a shoot, it wouldn't be awkward, whether they are there or not. Try and be professional. By the end of the day, we are here for business. In as much as we are going to have other conversations, but I think professionalism is key.
Have you ever gotten maybe like a confrontation by someone over such a case?
Not yet. Probably, I think I'm a fast learner. I could be able to tell your reaction, so I'll be able to know what to go slow on, how to go about it. But I've not reached a point if I have offended someone where they felt so insecure. And if they feel so insecure, they need to up their game as well.
Very true.
True.
If someone triggers your insecurity, it means there's something wrong with you that you're actually insecure about. So work on it. Don't be jealous. And also, I like the fact that you're saying you need to be professional, and they know where to draw the line. Speaking about insecurities, you know, also a lot of artists struggle because, like we are saying, especially our society doesn't really see art as something that can be paying, or sometimes you don't feel like you're good enough, and we struggle with a lot of self-doubt. Do you struggle sometimes? And I like the way you said also the things that inspire you, but are there times you feel like I'm not good enough, or maybe my art is no longer important, something like that?
I guess we all undergo such phases where you feel like you're not good enough. Probably you've done a piece and then you, personally for me, I feel like I'm my biggest critic. I'll take something and then I'm like, probably you would have changed something, it would have been a little bit better. But you have to learn that not always that you're going to get that perfect shot. Sometimes it's okay to have those imperfections because that is what makes us who we are. And also another challenge I have with photographers. Photographers are doing some amazing work, but sometimes we want to change people to be so perfect in our photos.
Using blush and everything.
Exactly. So nowadays kila mtu anakuja studio utani smoothen nikaanza kabisa utanipunguza sije nikaje, but I feel like we need to appreciate ourselves just the way we are. And if you feel that change inakupress sana, it means you need to do something about it. Probably hit the gym, drink a lot of water or something. Yes,
that's very, actually I've never thought about that, because also if someone tells you that and you don't do it, then maybe they will say you didn't do a good job because you didn't make them as thinner or smoother. And sometimes you can actually tell that this, you can just see this is Photoshop. And again, like you're saying, it means you need to work on yourself and improve yourself. There are no quick fixes out here. Talking of quick fixes, we know a lot of artists usually struggle with substance use. And you find that there are people, I remember a friend of mine was telling me, like, you see these artists, they cannot be creative if they don't use maybe bang, especially people like bang, or even some artists, maybe performers, they have to drink a shot or something to go to the stage, and probably it's because of the anxiety. Some of them are introverts, they have to face these huge crowds. what can you say about that? And especially, I'm talking about quick fixes because you're not really dealing with the problem. You're trying to put a bandage on it.
Yeah, true. Actually, what you said is so true. Most of the creatives are introvert, and most of the time our job demands for us to be extrovert. Yeah, and then most of our creative process, we just want to be alone probably. Some of us get ideas whenever you're alone or you're in a quiet place. So sometimes you have to turn up in a big crowd or something. For instance, I'm doing a big event. I'm shooting at a big event. I expect to reach alone. Yeah, exactly. Probably even a wedding is better because there's a certain order of events. But imagine a concert. You meet so many different people. They're so high and that you're not. And then everyone is demanding photos. You have to capture a lot. So I feel like there's a lot going on. It might be too much for you. So I think sometimes that is why you feel like you also need to get to their level so that you interact at the same place. Some people do that, which is still okay. You can handle that. But especially for me at my work space, I kind of try and avoid that as much as possible because you do not want to interact with the client and then also nasikia smell to fulani, you know, even for me, when I go to a medic and I kind of notice that I don't be as confident because you like, yo, you're under the influence of something, so you don't feel like you are ready to sort me out.
Big professional.
So for me, I kind of separate work and party time or any other activities I'm doing. If it's work, it's work. Let me be so professional about it. I think it's more about maintaining a balance, but for some artists, especially musicians, I kind of feel like they need some puff so that they can get the hype. But I think once you're able to handle the pressure of people, it becomes easier. You don't have to undergo through all that.
And I like the way even when you're talking about the creative process, sometimes you need some time alone to think. You need maybe a conducive environment. So instead of coming up with these quick fixes of let me get high so that I'm in the zone, maybe you can consider changing your environment or separating yourself from the crowds. And also in terms of the crowd fear, social phobia, you get used to it over time, and also you can do some coaching and everything.
I also feel like you can also try and challenge yourself in the course of the week. Meet a new stranger, talk with them, meet someone new. It kind of builds up your confidence. Because the next time you're meeting someone new, it would be as strange as before.
Because you get used to so many faces. And that being said, a lot of artists now struggle mentally. We have those issues like we have mentioned, anxiety. There are those who get depressed. There are those who have other conditions as well. And that is where now therapy comes in, And a lot of people don't like opening up. I know a lot of creatives also, maybe like in the mainstream, don't want to be seen as, weak, going to counselors and everything. Do you think that there can be a place for artists in terms of therapy? Do you feel like they can be able to seek help and be helped as well? Some also may feel as if they are not understood because a lot of us don't understand creatives. We put them on a certain pedestal and think they are perfect, they don't have issues, and a lot of them are going through so many issues. We see marriages breaking, they have to announce in the limelight. It's a lot. So what would you say in terms of seeking for therapy?
I think artists are just like any other person. It is like any other profession, and it has its own challenges. And sometimes you undergo a lot, but what people see, sometimes people do not post their problems on social media. They post their good times. Probably, and they post that I'm doing on my social media like 20% of my life. But people tend to think like that's 100%. So when they see you having good time, shooting at big places with big people, they think your life is on another level. So I feel like whatever you say, people don't feel like they can lower themselves to that level where they come for therapy and look weak somehow. But I feel like we should be open with ourselves and be honest with ourselves in a way that we're able to have this conversation. Like for instance, yesterday at the studio, We had a small interaction and conversation with a few photographers. We were planning a gig over the weekend, so we had a small conversation. And I feel like that was more like therapy because you're able to talk about the challenges you're facing, the issues you're going through, how you're able to handle them. So I feel like therapy is important. Although for me growing up, when I see took a movie, I was like, this is watu fulani. But I've always wanted to go for therapy, and I'm lucky to have you because I feel like it's something that you need to introduce people to. You should not walk this journey alone. I feel like you should advocate for that more and more because when people start talking about the issues, they even seem smaller, and then you're like, oh, kumbe it was that small. It's not something which was supposed to bother me that much.
Talking of social media reminded me of the point of where people now need to be fake. You know, the way you're saying people only put the highlights of their lives, but sometimes there's this pressure for people to, you know, seem like they've made it in life. They want to live in certain areas. They want to drive cars and
make it.
What do you think about that? Especially you can advise the upcoming artists because I feel like when they get into this, they think the moment nikianza kuimba hivi mimi nishaomoka and life is just going to blow up. So what would you tell them?
Before I comment on that, first of all, I'd like to appreciate all the young people out there who are making big moves. Some people say they are making big moves, they're doing greater things, and they're such an inspiration to us. And also wish and continue to do greater things so that you may also inspire other people. But at the same time, if you're not doing that well, it doesn't mean that you're supposed to be there. It means that there's hope and you can grow to another level. I think the most important thing is trying to outgrow yourself every single day by learning from others. So you don't have to fake it. It's okay. Nowadays I look at my posts from Kitambo and then I'm like, wow, this is where I started. These are the kind of things I used to do. So monitoring that progress is such a joy rather than looking perfect every single time. So I feel it's okay to be down there so that you can also appreciate your journey as you scale up and as you do greater things.
I love that.
But at the same time, I just want to appreciate guys who are doing big things out there.
Especially this Gen Z, they are doing the most.
Standards have been set. People are outdoing themselves. They are doing amazing things, and super proud of them.
And I like the way you said you focus on outgrowing yourself every single day instead of comparing yourself to I don't know who. Maybe learn from them some tips or two, but just make sure that you become better every single day so that once you look at your journey, you'll see how far you have come. We have come to the end of our video, and I had such a good time. Thank you so much. I hope someone has been able to learn something, especially the up and coming creatives. And you can see a lot of us are starting to embrace this creativity, people wanting to do things like design, you know, music, pursuing poetry and such. And I like the fact that people like you are there to show them the way. So thank you so much. As we conclude, maybe you can be able to let them know how they can find you and maybe get to work with you.
On all social medias, you can check us out at William Cee Studios. You can do your bookings there, and we have our numbers and website listed there. So also slide on the DM to make a booking, to make an inquiry. We have photography classes. If you yes, we do. Nowadays people are doing a lot of vlogs and everything, so you can come and learn, get a few hacks and tips on how to go about it. We also shoot events, weddings, shoots, graduations, name it. So just contact us and then we're going to be happy to sort you out. You can also follow Maryanne on her YouTube channel. Make sure you like and subscribe. And she also has some offers. You should tell us about that.
Wow, I like the way you're marketing me in my channel.
You're doing something great. You need to appreciate
I appreciate that. Actually, Will was someone who, when I was starting, he was very enthusiastic about this. He used to push me and give me tips on how to do the recordings. So yeah, I'm having an offer in therapy where I have a 50% off. So I used to charge $1,500 for online sessions, but now it's 50% off. So grab that chance to work on yourself and your mental health before 2022 is over. So I hope you're going to reach out. That has been it from us. Thank you so much, Will, for gracing us.
Just a quick question,
yes,
before we close up. Therapy ni akina nani exactly? There are certain people or group of people who should come for therapy. You can tell us.
No. Therapy is for everyone. You see, like my slogan is always mental health is for everyone, because it affects everybody. Like from the rich, the poor, people who are working I don't know where, to the people who are jobless. Everybody gets affected in one way or another. That's why we have different aspects of therapy, from relationships to career to life transitions to people with mental health issues. We don't have to wait until now we become mentally ill or depressed. Someone can maybe just be curious, maybe they want to know, why do I do what I do? Why do I get angry all the time? Why is it that I always attract toxic men? Things like that.
So we have something like that.
Yeah.
That's a new one.
It is, maybe you just want to work on yourself, to improve yourself. Like you said, you want to outgrow yourself every single day. So instead of going through it alone, you can now get someone to guide you. We guide you through it. Like I will tell you, we start from A to Z. Maybe for you, you might look over the internet and it's too much and you don't know where to start. So that's why we say it's for everybody. Everyone who wants to try it, they can do it. I hope you guys were able to learn something. If you did, please leave a like, comment, and don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, remember that mental health is for everybody.